Brace yourself for unprecedented epicness, because today I'm going to be revealing my Patreon perks. What do they entail, you may ask? Without further ado, without further delay, without further procrastination, let's delve into the nitty-gritty, let's dabble into this. Now, before we start, I want to preface this video by saying if you have the opportunity to donate to me, if you have the opportunity to pledge to my Patreon account, then please feel free to do so. You'll have my gratitude and perpetuity, and I greatly appreciate every single donation that I can receive. If you're indigent, if you're destitute, if you're impoverished, and if you cannot afford to donate to me at this time, then I completely understand. I can completely resonate with you, because unfortunately, to my dismay, I'm poor and I can't afford to donate to anyone either. But if you have some discretionary income, if you have spare change, if you have disposable income, then please feel free to earmark it into my Patreon account so that I can ramp up my content, better appease you, better appeal to your niche interests, and attain a higher standard of living. I detest and resent being destitute and indigent, but it is what it is. So let's move on. Let's dabble into the nitty-gritty. Let's delve into this. I'm pressed for time and I have to get this video done. It's salient that I finish this video quickly because my hard drive is almost done in memory, and I don't want this video to finish recording prematurely like it did in the past, so I had to re-record this video and I'm re-recording it for one final time. So let's get into this. So if you pledge $1 more to my Patreon account, you have access to the Patreon only activity feed, where you'll be able to see exclusive messages and exclusive content that I'll post to the activity feed. So if you pledge $2 or more to my Patreon account, you'll be given a verbal or text-based shout-out, depending upon my choosing, a monthly video in which I thank the patrons for their ongoing support. And if you pledge $3 or more to my if you pledge $5 or more to my Patreon account, not only will you be able to reap the aforementioned perks, but you'll also be able to submit a video request or live stream request, in which I'll likely be able to accommodate in order to appease you and in order to appeal to your niche interests. I always want to tickle the fancy of my viewers. I always want to appease my viewers whenever possible. So you get access to the activity only feed. You get access to the exclusive Patreon's activity only feed, and you get a verbal or text-based shout out in a monthly video in which I thank the patrons for their patronage, and you get the ability to submit a live stream request or a video request, which I'll likely be able to adhere to and bring to fruition. So moving on, for $10 or more, you get all the aforementioned perks, which encompass access to the Patreon only activity feed, the verbal or text-based shout out in a monthly video, which will give you a plugin, the ability to have your video request or live stream request adhered to as long as it's within reason, and of course the ability to converse with me or chat with me or talk with me via Skype. And of course, if the patrons donate $150 to me as an aggregate per month, I'll reveal my prodigious, stellar, ineffably epic, aesthetically appealing action figure collection, which is comprised of Toy Biz Marvel Legends, DC Universe Classics, action figures, DC Direct action figures, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe figures, Harry Potter figures, Dragon Ball Z figures, Dragon Ball Super figures, Lord of the Rings figures, Star Wars figures, Yu-Gi-Oh figures, Pokemon figures, Final Fantasy figures, TMNT figures, Family Guy figures, South Park figures, Hercules figures, Sonic the Hedgehog figures, Warriors of Virtue figures, and of course Halo Joy Studios action figures. And I also have a bunch of action figures that I neglected to mention on the list that I'll likely showcase if the viewers are willing to donate $150 to me per month. So please pledge to my Patreon account if you can. Almost all my videos are demonetized, so I can no longer stay afloat by making YouTube videos. It was never really lucrative in the past. I'd have to earn 5,000 video views just to be able to earn $1 in the past. Most people enable an ad blocker. Ad blocker is ubiquitous, is prevalent, and it inhibits me from being able to generate revenue from my video views. And what else? RPMs and CPMs are at an all-time low, so even if everyone were to miraculously disable ad blocker, there's still little money to be made, especially after the demonetization apocalypse that transpired on YouTube. So please pledge to my Patreon account if you love my content. If you detest my content and you don't want to pledge, then I understand. But if you can, if you have discretionary income, if you have spare change, then please feel free to do so. My computer comes from a time of antiquity. The components are malfunctioning. My computer is nearly 6 years old. I have to constantly replace the parts, and I want to be able to buy new video games. I want to be able to buy a new computer, and I want to be able to buy more food so I have more energy to create more videos. So I hope they found this video to be intriguing and insightful. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.